Well, game balances is like, the mechanical balance of things where how the game works out with the dice and how that allows
Did
you
you purposely leave Norton out of the shot?
to affect how that affects the game and how that's the character's tools to affect the game. And basically the other argument is that storytelling and role playing and that aspect of the game is is where the balance is found. As players, like how do you guys feel like as far as game balance and like what realm it should lie into like the actual books and mechanics of the books, and can that throw the game off if it's out of balance, or is if the game's out of or is like can the game be out of balance and that's just like up to the dungeon master to like adjusticate it through story and plot lines, opportunities that he presents or such.
It's a combination of the two.
I think it's a combination of the two too. I don't think you as players like you should be worried about like what other people's statistics are or whatever, or like having like ability envy or anything like that.
No, I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
What's that? He has a total of 72 points, and I have 68.
I mean, there's also the aspect of like balance within like niche or whatever, like inside of like speciality. Like if I never bring up situations that your niche is
exactly, and that's part of your responsibility.
Yeah,
almost.
And I think that's the story part of it. I can see where other people are like feel like the mechanic has to be there too. I think yours right. It has to be somewhere in the middle. Anybody else have anything else to add?
I mean, it's not like we don't play an extreme role-playing situation where it's it's not permitted to min-max, and you only take feats that would pertain to your character at the time based on the story. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
how would combat feats even make sense?
Exactly.
Because you'd be training, I guess.
It's extreme.
In the off time,
The only people with power attack are mercenaries and knights. Period. End of story.
I'm personally of the opinion that the problem occurs if the character build hits the story. If the story takes a hit because somebody is ridiculous, then that's no fun. But I think other than that, it doesn't matter.
I mean, we've all heard of games where like there's like the GM's just got this one character that every challenger he throws out there, this one character just dominates the board, and
Kobe,
or whatever, takes over every combat situation.
I was thinking Kobe.
And combat being a major part of the game, and I could see where people feel like balance is key. At the same time, that's almost up to the game designers to decide the mechanical balance of the game.
How balanced do you really want it? Like, you definitely wouldn't randomize ability score if you were trying to make the game perfectly balanced.
I guess you wouldn't randomize ability scores if you're trying to make the game perfectly balanced. Sure.
And there's lots of stuff.
Sure. So I mean, like, where do you guys as players like feel on this line? Like if the game gets out of balance, like
what? So you're preemptively you're asking this question just in case it happens in this campaign,
and it's a relevant question that's going on around the community. Or the brigade.
If it starts to get out of hand, then maybe an arbitration is in order or something, like a side to the play PC and be like, look, man, I mean, we all know your character's badass, but do you want to ruin the game for everybody? Right, People should have strong enough. You should have strong enough egos to be able to accept something like that. Okay, yeah, I know my character. I'm really good at building characters. Okay, but it's ruining the story. I should take it back a little bit, I guess, because I don't want to ruin it for everybody else.
On the other hand, though, I feel like there's plenty of stuff that the DM can do to make that up.
Let's say a guy's OP.
What's that? Your guy's got OP equipment? Rust monsters. Yeah. Lots of rust monsters.
Whatever it happens to be. That's just
that also takes down the other people who aren't OP.
And that's almost like meta GMing or whatever.
That is meta GMing.
Meta GMing. Next topic. Well,
I think
we all enjoy stories of like Luke Skywalker going into the Death Star, but Luke Skywalker wouldn't be able to get into that Death Star the way he did had it happened Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's clearly a higher challenger than he is, and then running it together as a group. So in that aspect, and I mean, I feel that like I don't really worry about balance in that sense if I want to tell a great story. You know, like yeah, I need it there to appease you guys and have that illusion of balance, I guess.
With challenge rating, say, like what are your statistical likelihood of beating something with your challenge rating? Isn't it supposed to be like a 50-50 if the challenge is...
No, it's in your favor, actually. It's in the player's favor.
And I think that it should be. If the campaign was really balanced, your characters would get killed off all the time. It would just be stupid.
Well, sure.
If the campaign's really balanced, every combat has a 50% chance of failure.
Wait, is that last Pathfinder campaign?
Yes.
But
that was more like a 25.
I mean, I think that combat shouldn't necessarily be like, and always like a gimme anytime either.
No.
I mean,
People should die. I don't, you know, that's just the way it is. They
agree.
should. Somebody
Yeah.
should get
Make
really
somebody
fucked
like
up. Like if you're
heroic,
fighting,
yeah.
I mean, look at the things you fight.
all right. Well,
I mean, granted, you're like some sort of hero and everything, but like, I mean, these things are horrible monsters. You know what I mean? They do awful
that's that third
things.
house stuff.
I'm kind of scared of some of them.
Sure.
Yeah, pick it up from the bottom.
Some of this,
Look at
some
this
of
guy.
them are mindless.
You don't want to mess with this dude.
No, that guy would rip us to shreds.
Yeah.
So, but that's. I mean, that's you know.
Glory.
So, like, what happens when you die? Then are you okay coming back at first level when everybody else is 12th level? I mean,
Well, that sucks for you. At the same time,
this was a birdhouse.
Sometimes
I'll never get XP.
Well, I didn't make
at
it. I
first
bought a
level
birdhouse and
traveling with 12 level
kinda
people.
like
that's
Took
for
it
sure.
apart
I don't
with
get shit.
Steam.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you
Because
want
you're
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
power level. That's
Now
power
I can
level.
use it for gaming.
So
I think I showed it to you when it was
You get there's a scaling of
Anyway.
XP that like goes down. Like
Barnes.
if I'm like first
Turn
level,
that way
you're all
up.
12.
It'll brain it.
I thought if
All right.
if
Well,
first
you
level
could do that, Pete.
is
And then I
part
could
of
just
stuff
pipe
levels.
every quest and just sit in a corner.
I thought that was how
Throw
it
a
worked.
rock as a monster.
And then go up, sit in a corner and go up in levels.
I thought that was how it worked.
I know, but that's lame.
Yes, it is lame.
Go stand in the corner.
I agree.
When you come back when you're 12th level.
Actually-
Well, I don't do
I-
that stuff. Like, I don't like really give XPs unless it's prevalent towards the stories. Like, I'm not going to let you sit there at 12th level and go to some village and kill 3,000 commoners because.
No, you wouldn't. But
what about the
what I'm
level one
saying,
character
what about the
who's in a
level
party
1
of level
character
12
traveling
people?
with a party of 12th level characters? You're being power leveled, and you get less XP by scaling, usually.
Yeah.
So that would be a bitch, being first level with a bunch of 12th level characters. So that's why I say it falls on you. It poses issues for you in that scenario because now you have to think of where the first level character is going to fit in, or he's going to be able to get
in
decent
my-
XP. And
In my personal opinion, if I was put in that position, I would take that as I would take the challenge of trying to write a first level character that can do something for the party despite only being first level. And
Well,
you
sure.
can do that, you know, just because
I'm
you're
gonna-
first level.
I'm running water.
You're still a PC, you know, you can still make
What
any
do
kind of decision. There's all kinds of stuff.
can I wipe your brow for you?
Just as an example.
I mean, like what?
Oh,
Well,
when
on
we
the
did
same-
when we did Inner Sea region. Now, granted, it wasn't a 12 level gap, but Jules came in kind of late, and he played a bard, and he walked around and whistled.
He
And
went into one battle
Boost
and
us
stood
up.
there and almost died because
He almost died by whistling.
he got saved. And then he just like that was it. He never played
And-
again.
At the
But
same-
Jules, that wasn't because of.
that wasn't because of how the session was.
No, I know it wasn't because of how the session goes, but that's what I'm just saying. I mean, we don't really have a lot of how
at the same time
events happen.
with the character death, though, I mean, you have to
I've seen the new post a couple of
you have
Speak
to
up,
be a
Pete.
hero sometimes. It's like, but again, me and Chris both did it plenty of times in the last campaign, and just so happens that Chris got lucky, but I died twice in that campaign.
Well, you both continuously put yourselves in the line of danger.
Yeah, but that's necessary, you know? If your character dies and you're doing something for the better, and you die doing it, then you shouldn't really feel like shit that you died.
Sure.
Why would you?
Sure.
I mean, it sucks. It sucks as
Well,
a
that's the
player.
role playing
Elf
part.
Star.
I mean, you know, from the narrative or the Desmian aspect, like, you know, like some people embrace roles that the character dies, like as an actor or you know,
Yeah, you get a passionate.
you know, or even when
Expressive
you're reading
death.
a book, like you know, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like you know, like he's gonna. Well, and most people have seen the movie and
Well,
never actually read the book. That's
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Bear in mind, he did become more powerful than we could possibly
It
imagine.
did cook him alright, so. But I mean, Gandalf is the same thing, kind of like Gandalf is way higher level than
Yeah.
hobbits.
the fellowship.
I don't know, those hobbits are pretty good at eating.
They are pretty good eaters.
And party.
And partying and throwing
Yeah,
and throwing social gatherings.
Samwise played some encouraging roles in that. He definitely tricked people.
Or like Arthurian tales, like you know, you got like children of people going on quests with their fathers, and Merlin's is immortal.
Yeah.
Finding rings. Yeah, and I'll
You
spend
know,
all that time
What,
trying
you
to
think
find
I would
the
be
know,
stealing
like,
on your
oh,
oats?
just because I'm a
Not
hobbit?
every role
Mordred
is
is,
slaying, though. Someone did
Yeah,
I don't
he's
want
young
to-
and he's virile and he's filled with magic and
role playing role.
But that's like,
Lord of the
so
Rings?
ultimately, like, balance to me, like, it's not that important, but a little bit of it helps,
I just think it's fun that entire
understand.
story.
Hey, what's your closing statement on balance?
On balance.
Yeah.
Balance in the.
In gaming, in RPGs. Come and frame it.
I just think that there's you have to find a medium between the whole role playing and
Game
level
mechanic
gaming like
mechanical balance.
yeah. I think the game is a role playing game, and it's more important to figure out how to play a character in a role playing aspect before you go ahead and make the thing stupid, because nobody understands how to role play something that is far beyond anything we could ever think of.
Sure.
Can I have one last word
Sure.
on balance? My PC will kill your PC in combat because my PC is not balanced.
But see that, and there it goes. No, see, that's the thing I was talking about the other day. I don't care about PvP. Like, that kind of crap doesn't bother me. I know anyone going into D&D character making and being in a party knows that eventually the 20th level wizard can nuke the entire party if he wants to.
Elf Star.
Or
Nobody-
by accident.
You know what I mean? Nobody is questioning that. So it's like, if someone's character is a 20th level wizard, why are you going to be jealous of him because he can fucking nuke people? It's no
I
big
should
deal.
say.
It's just not, you understand your role. Like,
And your role
Right.
is to get
so
nuked.
you chose the character that can be the toughest, or can be the most epic at 20th level. Grats.
Right.
It's a big deal.
Cool story, guy.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Tell it again.
Go ahead. Fireball me to death. I don't give a shit. Meteor swarm me. Whatever you do.
Meters.
Whatever it is you do.
Dan, any closing statements on balance?
Not really. I mean, like, balance.
I know you got a lot to say.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. No, imbalance is I don't really have a definition for balance because it's sort of an airy thing. It's
Like
sort
last
of,
time we did experience a little bit of mechanical imbalance as far as like running Rise of the Wind Village raw as written. I mean, Pete's character was definitely dominant in combat for a while. I don't think he was overly dominant, but
No, after early levels he was.
what I was
Then it got
well,
leveled
let me
out.
speak.
what I was trying to say is it's not so much balance that I can say, well, this is balance, this is imbalance. But what I can say is I'm pretty sure I can tell imbalance when I see it. Like, I might not be able to say something is imbalanced just in like before I see it in action, but when something's in action, I think many people will probably get that feeling that something's sort of out of whack. And whether that's a problem or not, it's up to the group. Like,
It's a feel for each group, right?
yeah.
I agree. I think it is a line. I do think that like you guys shouldn't be worried about like what's on his character sheet or vice versa or nothing like that. But if you guys are left with a feeling of like imbalance, then I kind of failed, and maybe we should even consider the game we're playing. But I think that the object is to have fun and avoid that.
Well, ultimately, it just becomes to a communication issue where just people have to be honest about shit and talk about it as it happens and just be cool about it. I mean, when people who are sitting at this table here don't have really that problem.
Yeah.
Right,
you know?
right. We tend to have a mature group.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Balance is based
That's
on
that pain.
games.
if you got an issue, just talk about it and we'll work it out. It's pretty much a democracy here, It's,
Right. I do run the table like a democracy.
You do, and that's good.
At least as far as like gaming.
What is
goes.
That way everyone's happy in the end,
There was this guy years and years ago that
Alright.
wrote these comic
I'm
books.
trying to think if I have anything to say about
for
balance.
Christian youth.
Yeah, I pretty much think you got to find out what works for you. I don't really worry about it. But it, you know, I guess if it did become a problem, I got that feeling that my players were unsatisfied because of the game was out of bounds, and I would try to justicate it.
The L-Star was the character.
I do want to address one thing Hammered had mentioned in his video about Hammered about extreme points of view and everything is extreme, and I've heard other people in the community talk about that. But I kind of enjoyed that because that's where I learned, like, there's guys who have like much different play styles with me and that I don't always agree with, but it's from those guys that I learn by watching their videos, guys who play different games than I do and handle things different than I do. That's where I learn, and they've added to my game a lot because they do have a different point of view. I'm sure it's great for me to hear about, like, from other people who feel the same way that that I'm doing things. That's reassuring, and it's nice. It's always nice to know that, you know, other people come across like the same ideas that you have or have the same feeling about something. But at the same time, I learn more from people that play differently than I do or have a different take on things. So that's how I feel about the extreme polarization on the different camps and on YouTube. But I think it's a good thing. Anyway, thanks, gamers, and we're gonna get to gaming now. See you guys later.
2 weeks.